When you start achieving the goal that you set for yourself, and you got that first goal, then you want to go further. And you start feeling much better in your mind, the endorphins released, you get addicted to it. It's like a nasha of alcohol. The same way you'll find, people wonder, why does this guy get up in the morning and go cycling? What's wrong with him? He's mad. But he's addicted. Addiction which people who are not initiated don't know about.
Welcome, viewers, to another episode of B Cubed, Breaking Boundaries with Sabeer Bhatia. So, this episode will deal with fitness and sports. It is a privilege for us to have on this show General Vikram Dogra. General Dogra, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
General Dogra is from the Indian Army, formerly from the Armored Corps, and he's perhaps, or is rather, the only general globally to have done the Ironman. The Ironman is one of the most grueling tests of fitness and endurance, and what better person than him to address us on this subject. So, General Dogra, when we think of sports, we think of recreation, we think of health, and of course, we think of the indomitable spirit of man. My first question to you would be, how is this spirit of man nourished by sports activity?
So, sports gives you two aspects. One is your sportsmanship or sportsman spirit that we talk of to take part in a game. It doesn't matter whether you win or you lose. And the second aspect is that when you are taking part in a game, that indomitable spirit that you talk of comes alive, and your want to win, to be able to beat the opponent, it ignites. And that is where you find that is the spirit that pushes you beyond your limits, beyond the boundaries that you have probably set for yourself in your mind. And your body goes that extra mile and gives you something that you never even expected.
Yeah. Actually, in addition to all of this, I think a lot of sports occurs in the subconscious mind. If you look at how quickly tennis players or cricketers or baseball players have to react to situations, they almost anticipate a ball before it's been bowled. It's reached that level. So subconsciously, you already play your stroke depending on what you think the bowler will bowl or the opponent will throw at you. And just yesterday was a phenomenal example of something of this. The Australian Open, which in which Yannick Sinner, a first-time a participant in a final, in a Grand Slam final, was 2 sets down, and he played out of his zone in the last 3 sets to win the Australian Open. Djokovic has always said that when he's down, there is a voice in his head that goads him on. These people, they don't look at the scores. They just play every shot, one shot at a time, and it brings out the best in them, obviously.
So, I want to take this one step further to what Sabeer just mentioned when he spoke of them, reacting or having played that shot already. When I was doing the Ironman, I visualized doing it thousands of times in my mind before I actually went and took part. So on race day, when I was actually performing, to me it seemed like just one more run in my mind. I had done the swimming, I had done the cycling, I had done the running. So when people ask me how did it feel to have finished it, to me it felt as if it was just one more practice. So you visualize your game hundreds and thousands of times. That's why like you said, the player knows what's coming and it's like muscle memory. Your mind is reacting automatically.
Yeah, and similar situation to me. I mean, when I've just started cycling 2 years ago, And at first, I didn't think I could do 50 miles, 60 miles, 70. Now I've reached about 78 miles as the top. But it's always in the mind. You know, you set yourself that mark that you will finish, and then you go through your mind that you will experience pain, you will experience discomfort, and then what the general left out is conditioning. You know, once you have put in the effort of conditioning your body, then it's just a mental thing. You know you're going to finish, and you just have to keep motivating yourself. There are times that your body will cramp up, but you just cycle through it. And it's like I said, it brings out the toughness. It makes a human being tougher in the mind, and I think that's one of the phenomenal benefits of participating in a sporting activity.
So both you gentlemen have been breaking a lot of boundaries. Otherwise, of course, about General it is very well known, the Iron Man himself. But Sabir, you two have been breaking a lot of boundaries in cycling and swimming and skiing. Now you're doing a lot of skiing at this stage in life. So what I would like to put to you, General, is that the one thing is that people indulge in the sports to break boundaries, to achieve something, set records. But what about sports for the common people? People who cannot or really are not ambitious enough to break boundaries, but still must play some form of sports so that it helps their health, it helps their uh, mind, and so on.
So I would not say that you play sports only to break boundaries. Uh, for every person, there's a different purpose, and for most, it is recreational. Uh, it, it it eases your mind, it makes you fitter, and as we know, it's only in a fit body that a healthy mind can reside. So that combination of mind and body, uh, people suffer from anxiety, from sleep deprivation, they have lifestyle diseases. All that can actually be sorted out if you are doing, if you're taking part in sports or whatever kind. And it doesn't have to be endurance sports. When people ask me, what do you feel about fitness? It's not about running a marathon. It's not about cycling 100 kilometers. I think fitness is being able to carry out your daily chores the way you're meant to without any discomfort. Then you're fit. And to do that, you can walk, you can cycle, you can swim, you can run, there's so many activities. So therefore, I feel for the ordinary or for most people, fitness or sports is more about recreation and just staying fit to be able to do your body functions.
I'll add to that. Neither am I doing anything to break any boundaries. It just so happens that you set some targets for yourself, but the real reason I'm doing it is just to get fitter and healthier, because as I noticed as I was aging, I was putting on more weight, and I felt there was inflammation building in my body, and I found a friend of mine who was cycling and who had lost a lot of weight. I just joined him, and I love it now. I love that I can push myself and see how far I can take my body, not to break any records, but just for personal satisfaction that I can do it. And the ultimate goal is to have a healthy body and a healthy mind. So I completely agree with you that you can take all kinds of you can choose from any one of myriad kind of sporting activities, and the most common being taking a walk. I mean, these days I take a 7-8 kilometer walk, and it just refreshes my mind. And even if I've had a bad night the previous night, I mean, I'm refreshed. It's like being born again every single day when I come out of a workout activity.
So when Sabeer says that he is just pushing himself, he's getting addicted. When you start achieving the goal that you set for yourself, and you got that first goal, then you want to go further. And you start feeling much, much better in your mind, the endorphins released, you get addicted to it. It's like a nasha of alcohol. The same way you'll find, people wonder, why does this guy get up in the morning and go cycling? What's wrong with him? He's mad. But he's addicted. It's that addiction which people who are not initiated don't know about.
Wonderful addiction, I must say. And to the addiction of cycling, the two of you contributed majorly a year ago when we had the Carbon Shunya event in Delhi. And both of you, aside from being leading participants, were great poster boys for the event as well. So, having said that, Sabeer, what is the role of you? You're a techpreneur, technology person. So, what is the role of technology, or rather, what is the impact of technology recently on sports?
So there are two areas. One is there's a whole explosion in the science of measuring what you're doing. So, I mean, all of us wear these watches. There is an app online called Strava. All kinds of wearables we can put on that measure our heart rate, measure our VO2 max, measure our, the number of steps we have taken, the number of miles we have cycled, the elevation we have gained, and all kinds of analysis, on every one of our sporting kind of activities. So that's one area of sports fitness that technology has impacted. The other is virtual workouts. I mean, on days that it's rainy or cold or snowy weather, I just get on my indoor bicycle and I have a big screen and I'm following somebody who's teaching me and guiding me through the different motions. And so I have a virtual trainer. I don't need to physically transport myself to a gym in order to have a trainer who tells me what to do. I'm virtually being told through a class. So technology is amazing. It's like a Zoom call, that is purpose driven and done to motivate you and to take you through a set of workout routines.
General, what is the future of fitness technology? There are these gyms now which are rapidly sort of improving the technology that they deploy in the machines and all that. And things are getting better and better, of course, even more expensive.
Yeah.
But what is the future?
So, just taking it further ahead from what Sabeer mentioned, one is you said technology in the gym. That's just the quality of the machines and the kind of workouts you can do, which has been transformed into so much more than what was existing earlier. But going back to the fact of these apps which are available, now these apps, they provide a window to the coach to be able to monitor the trainee or the athlete in every aspect, starting from nutrition, hydration, recovery, injuries and recoveries, the amount of workout he's done, how much of his parameters have been impacted by that workout, where should he be going. All this is on one single app. And when you sit and analyze the data which is all fed into this one app, that coach can then tell you the kind of workout you need to be doing the next week, the next month, for the entire year. Also to the taking it further up is, there are these video cameras which are put, which analyze you from every angle. They are not only visual, but they're also, in the which X-ray kind of stuff which goes into your body structure being analyzed, and it'll tell a guy, for example, a bowler, as to how to increase the speed of the ball, what's wrong with his action, how he can make it better, and so on and so forth. So that's one part of technology as far as the apps is concerned. The other aspect of the virtual coaching, which Sabeer spoke of, like for the elderly, you may not be able to go to the gym. You can sit at home and have a virtual instructor giving you everything that you needed, which you would have got in a gym. You can do it because of technology. You can have interactive, like he said, he can cycle at home with a virtual, either goggles or a screen. You can have interactive cycling with other people who are using the same app, also being on the same ride, and you can see them there. You're competing with them. All those parameters are coming. So it's really actually changed the entire face of sports. And the difference between today a winner and a loser is sports technology. The introduction of all these facets, which brings out that additional enhancement in your performance.
The other element that comes to my mind while talking about sports is commercialization of sport. You know, every good spectator sport the world over is being hyper commercialized. There are billions of dollars flowing into sports, into making of sports people, into promoting them, into turning them into icons and heroes, and getting a following for them. What do you think, your comments, gentlemen, on that?
I think sports is entertainment, because entertainment and it's ultimately dollars that fuel the development of a sport. Look at golf today, for example. You know, they have to make the grass look a certain way on screen. They don't go for the best kind of grass. They try to get representation of golfers from around the world. There are exemptions to golfers who come from countries like India and China, so that they bring audiences with them. So it's totally commercial, and we have to accept life is commercial. And in this case, finally, the more dollars that go into the sport by way of advertising or ticketing sales also increase the quality of the sport. You get more people joining, it can support more people, and at the end of the day, sports is a story. We all live for stories. Who won this game? Who won this? Why did they win? And so I think engaging the whole planet in sports is a good thing for entertainment purposes. But then the takeaway for each of us as individuals should be that we should take a portion of that ourselves to enrich our own lives, to make our lives healthier, longer, better, more interesting. And like I said, like the General said, cycling or any kind of extreme sports is superbly addicting. You do it once, you want to do it more and more and more, and see if you can do even more. Like skiing, for example, you begin with green slopes, you move to blue slopes, then you move to black, double black, because you are constantly testing your limits. And with every achievement, there is a more of an endorphin that is released in your brain, and that makes you a happier person.
Your take on commercialization in sport?
I think it's good. You need to commercialize your sports because you need money to be able to provide that infrastructure. And that infrastructure to go down to the grassroots level, from where you pick up your stock, who's going to then perform for the country or for whatever you're looking at. Unless they have that infrastructure, they're not going to be able to give you quality. That infrastructure can only come if money is fueled into sports. And the only way to do it is commercialization. So like he said, ticketing and television, and the stakes being high. You see how popular cricket has become, and how it's popular because these cricketers are stars. And who's made them the stars? It's the money and the media. Similarly, like I was associated with a sport called Kho-Kho. Kho-Kho is a rural sport of India, indigenous sport. And we came up with a league where we needed money to be infused to be able to bring those new mats to grassroots level in the villages. That money then came in the form of Dabur taking up the contract for 20 years for the Kho-Kho League, infusing $210 crores into it. So things like that, while we may look at it, that it's commercial, but it's important for our sport to grow because money makes it move.
Very well. So, the other area where sports really impact societies and the globe at large is the relationship between nations, cultural diplomacy. So, for example, you're a general, and we fought so many battles with Pakistan. Now, I think the best battle that we fight with Pakistan is on the cricket ground. The whole nation comes together, and there is solidarity, which pulsates the entire, aggregated spirit of India. So it's a different feeling altogether. All the Indians come together under the same umbrella when they are in a match, not necessarily against Pakistan, but any other country for that matter. Of course, there is a dilution when it comes to commercialization. For example, when there is an IPL or some other league that's happening, which is not between nations per se, that kind of enthusiasm is missing. Is it true?
Well, like you said, diplomacy can come in any form, and sports is one of the best forms it's soft power. When you have your sportsmen going abroad, playing in the Olympics, playing in the Commonwealth Games, there are world military games where, armies from across the globe take part together. Well, you may be enemies, but there on this field, you're just, you're sporting rivals. And that sportsman spirit that you spoke of in the beginning, that comes into play. Where you play it as a sport. You respect your team across. They're your enemy, but not here. Here, they're only an opponent. So I think it's a great form of diplomacy, whether it be IPL, whether it be, where nations are involved. It's the best way for, establishing ties and taking diplomacy.
Some of the finest virtues and values that human beings must practice are actually best rehearsed in sports.
Absolutely.
True?
I completely agree. To add to that, I mean, look at Europe. A few hundred years ago, Europe had all these small countries fighting against each other. Now they just take it out on the soccer field. They just are footballing nations, so all of their vendetta is out on. I think it's a great form of diplomacy. I think it brings nations together, and I think it should. It also teaches you great human values. For example, the greatest human value that I learned from sporting and cycling and pushing myself is humility. First thing is that we have physical limitations, and we have to accept them. And more we work, and every time that I have played a sport like a tennis match or or a badminton game or a ping pong game, when I have respected my opponent, I have always done much better than if I thought of him as an opponent. I think it just teaches you that at the end of the day, we're all human, and it's this is something that God has gifted us with a good body, and we have to make sure that when we exit Earth, we leave it in pristine condition as well.
Just to take on ahead of what you mentioned, as to how it develops you, it teaches you failure. Sports is one thing which teaches you failure from the beginning, because one team wins and one loses. And that stands you good throughout your life, because we fail at some stage or the other. Some big, some small failures. It teaches you team spirit. It teaches you to respect other people, give them, like you said, humility. Team spirit, bonding, spirit decor, all this stands you good throughout your life, and you learn this on the sports field. So when you said sports gives you some of the best virtues, I couldn't agree more.
Okay. So the other thing I think sports, the realm or the world of sports does, is engenders a lot of activity in other industries and areas. For example, nutrition in sports and sports nutrition. Is that true, Sabeer?
Yeah, I mean, increasingly for recovery, taking different kinds of proteins, supplements, all of that has become a science now. It's no longer that sports was just go out and play and come back and eat some fruits and vegetables. You need to be able to have your body, when you're pushing yourself to the limit, you've got to hydrate yourself. You've got to take the proper types of electrolytes, otherwise you'll get cramping. If you are into building your body and doing bodybuilding, you need to take certain kind of proteins. So all of those are very related, interrelated. And you've seen a blossoming of all these, industries, if you will, that kind of support the sporting human.
So considering sports give us good health, they give us a sense, they teach us finer values, and they also give us an alternate engagement in terms of time, the youth particularly, whereby that could optionally have been spent in other non-productive and even more than non-productive, harmful indulgences. So if somebody is really into sports, that they would also stand to benefit in that sense.
Yeah, surely. But sports need to be attractive. You cannot force people to go and play a sport. So sports should be attracting that guy. That instead of sitting at the computer and playing doing something on the computer, I want to go out and play cricket, or I want to go and play football. That's where they will get away from that distraction which you talk of, whether it's to do with watching something which may not be of, that content may not be appropriate, or getting involved in some kind of drugs or something like that, getting more involved in the physical domain, it's a fantastic way to get away from all this.
Kids, for example, I think our biggest enemy is devices. Kids are addicted to phones and iPads and devices, and parents should be proactive in taking them outdoors, engaging with nature, and finding a sport, because that's what I believe will result in a healthy development of a child. You can't be on a computer, otherwise you'll have a virtual kid who has never knows how to socialize, interact, learn from each other, learn humility, learn camaraderie, the sportsman's spirit, be able to go and enjoy, socialize after a game. I mean, one of the best things I find after cycling a hill or something is when we sit down and have a donut and coffee at the end of it. So we have to teach all of this to the next generation, who are in danger of becoming virtual human beings.
So I just want to comment on the nutrition part. We want our children to go out and play, but we must also look at the kind of food that they intake. So there's a lot of protein that's required to be given, because that's what helps in muscle repair, which get damaged while playing. And talking about India, the protein content in our food is generally low. So I think that is something that needs to be flagged. The quality of food to be provided when your children are going to play sports should be appropriate to the kind of sport that they're playing. So there's a certain amount of calories being consumed. Those calories can be replaced, but must be replaced by the correct amount of carbohydrates, protein, and other vitamins. And there, of course, it's a big topic, but just putting it into this little bit of nutshell, then people can maybe look at it a little more.
Very pertinent issue, actually. Very important. So, given the fact that sports, what comes first, fitness or sports?
I will not say what comes first. It's like saying chicken or the egg. So, both go hand in glove. If you're not fit, you may not be able to play the kind of sport that you want to play. And if you are not sporty, you can still be fit, but you're not playing any game. So, really, it's difficult to say which comes first.
So, on that note, fitness and sports, two very, very important aspects of our lives, which must never be ignored. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on this show here. And viewers, you are more than welcome to ask your questions to Sabeer and to General Vikram Dogra. All you need to do is download the Shoreel app from App Store or Play Store. Put your questions on that, and be rest assured that they will be answered by the gentleman here. Thank you very much for being a part of this show. Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you, Javed.
Thank you, Sabeer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sabeer.